here on Edward Street in St. Thomas. We're about to meet Jim Collins from Harvest Hands Canada, and you're going to learn about one of the most dynamic organizations in our community doing some incredible work. Here on the north side of St. Thomas with Jim Collins of Harvest Hands Canada. Thank you so much for welcoming me here today.
Thank you very much for coming.
You know, your organization helps provide needed organizations with essential food. But tell us how that started out, because there was some organic growth, and you were actually, your church group was supporting
Right.
some families.
Yeah, exactly. We have always had taken care of approximately 10 families, and then in March of 2020, just before COVID, we said there must be more that we can do. And so I started to just called on growers and retailers and food processors and said, you know, do you have any surplus product? Do you have anything that's fast approaching the best before date, or maybe even seconds? And we were amazed at how they responded. And we adapted a policy early on, Paul, that we never say no. So if somebody calls and says, you know, I have 20 pallets of squash or 20 pallets of potatoes or tomatoes or whatever, we always take it. And what we found over time is that there's an unlimited amount of food available, but there's also an unlimited amount of demand. Just by way of example, Canada produces enough food for 52 million people. We have a population of 37 million. And the result of all that is about half the food in Canada ends up in the landfill. And it's not all through, it's not like through negligence necessarily. We're dealing with a perishable product. If you have a bright, sunny week, the product can produce as much increase of maybe 20%, but your market doesn't increase commensurate with that.
Yeah.
So so there's always a certain amount of product, and basically what we're doing, like food rescue isn't new. Food rescue has been happening as long as there's been surplus and as long as there's been people in need. But what we do is we will take the bulk product, collect it from throughout Southwestern Ontario, bring it back here, and then our volunteers will, you know, sort it, pack it, and put it into more manageable sizes that can be easily consumed. And there's really absolutely no limit to the amount of food that we can get. We have received to date just over $11 million worth of products since March 2020. Wow. And we have not paid one single dollar for any of it.
So, like you mentioned the 10 families at the start. So this is pre-COVID. This is, you know, doing
Yes.
it through your faith community.
Yes.
Do you have a rough estimate about maybe how many people or how many families you're supporting right now with the scale and the growth that you've done?
Yeah. Yes, we've been able to calculate that we produce or we make available approximately 52,000, the equivalent of 52,000 meals every single month. So we don't put meals together, but we provide the equivalent dollar value of a meal. And it's from a business perspective, we have a very unique business model. We have no cost of goods. We have no labor cost because it's 100% volunteers. And because of that, for every $1 of donation that we receive, we're able to produce the equivalent of 3 meals for $1.
That's amazing. No, like, we've got some volunteers here in the background, and maybe we'll just take a little walk around this
Sure.
way, Jim. But, you know, in other conversations we've had, the volunteers are really obviously critical to the success
Yes.
of this and the scale and scope of what they do.
Yeah,
Tell us about
exactly.
that.
You know, one thing about the volunteers is without the volunteers, none of this would happen. We could have all of the food that we could pack into as many tractor trailers as we wanted to, but the volunteers, currently we have 110 what we call full-time volunteers, and that's anyone who works between 5 and 30 hours a week.
Wow.
In addition to that, we have volunteers who come in on a campaign basis, like we have the Girl Guides, and we have youth groups, and we have service clubs, and they tend to work at night and on a campaign basis. But you know, the thing that we so appreciate is that the volunteers, they bring with them their skill, their knowledge, their expertise, but greater than all of that, they bring with them a passion to help people.
Yeah, and you can quantify that too. You've talked about like it's how many hours, like would you say, like, and
Yes.
this is just two. I mean, the place is a buzz. We've had to stop and start a few times with the
Yes.
with the forklift moving his boat as well. But like,
Yes.
how many volunteer hours a week even?
Yeah. At the moment, we're running just under 1,000 hours a week.
Whoa!
And if you quantify that,
It's
even
like
at
30
minimum,
full-time employees.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's amazing. And I mean, the dollar value, even at minimum wage, would be in the range of $15,000 every single week.
Yeah.
And the thing that is so encouraging for us is that, you know, I manage the company with a couple hundred employees, and you know, we have a lot of, you always have some HR issues, and you always deal, but here they seem to have purpose, and they tend to take ownership of what we're doing here. It isn't just a job. They're here because they want to be here.
Yeah.
I can relate to you a conversation when we started at the Grace Hall with just 3,000 square feet, and two ladies showed up there and said, you know, we heard that you're doing some work. We'd like to volunteer. And so they volunteered. They said they wanted to work 2 hours a week. Well, they're here today, and they work between 30 and 35 hours every week. And that's just half the story. The one lady is 73 and the other one is 79. And they both have, you know, retail, or they both have warehouse experience, which is, I mean, we have the volunteers, we have business people that have sold their business and you know, are working as truck drivers. We have 28 truck drivers right at the moment to man the five trucks that we have, and we also have people that drive their own vehicles and make deliveries for us to London, to St. Thomas. It's amazing.
Now, you know, we're in St. Thomas, you know, kind of the center of southwestern Ontario. How far afield, one, are you gathering the food, and then how far afield are you dispersing it?
Yes.
And ultimately, who does it go to? So, I mean, you
Sure.
probably it's not like the 10 connections
Right.
to the 10 families you had that were probably
Right.
immediate there. Now
Exactly.
it's people you don't
Yeah.
even necessarily know.
Yeah, really good question. We gather or rescue food from as far away as Windsor down to the Hamilton area. We have at the moment 78 different, I call them vendors, but they're not vendors,
Yeah.
they're really food donors. And that would be food processors, retailers, and farmers. And they give to us so generously. For example, one greenhouse down in the Essex County area, we track every single dollar of product that comes in that's saleable. And this particular grower has donated over $570,000 worth of tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers. And as I showed you a few minutes ago, this isn't product that's ready to go in the garbage. They're perfectly good condition.
Well, let's walk over there and actually take a
Certainly.
look. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a fridge open here, but
Yeah.
I know what's in this next one, so we'll
Okay.
check that out.
Yeah, okay.
And you like it. Sometimes it's not necessarily like the fruit doesn't look the right way.
Right.
Sometimes it's just literally, hey, we produce.
Exactly.
We're taking off
Yeah.
the field too much, and now we're passing
Well,
giant buckets of really.
here
and I
I-
mean, this is
Look at this.
that's in season beautiful
These
stuff.
these are supplied by a local company in Vienna, and they supply us asparagus, they supply us tomatoes, peppers, and they also will show you inside. Also, they supply us lettuce that's in pristine condition. And this is what we mean about coming in bulk. So we will take this and we'll put like a bundle of, you know, maybe 10 or 12. We'll pack that down into a plastic bag,
Yeah.
and close it up, and then ship it out. To finish the question you asked me a moment ago. So we will deliver that to food banks, shelters, missions, kids' lunch programs, seniors, and that would be from Windsor to Windsor to Oshawa. That's the area that we're working right now. And you know, when I talk to the growers, the food processors, and the retailers, you know, they say like nobody wants to grow a product, develop a market, package it, deliver it, and then put it in the landfill. So it makes them feel good about what
Yeah.
they're doing. I don't know how else to say it.
What's in this? How does it all work?
Well, we receive dented cans. They have small dents in them, and they're not accepted by the retail stores. So we receive pallets of them with about 1,000 cans on each one.
Okay.
We label them, and then we take them and shrink wrap them like this, and then we'll ship this out. You know, to food banks and shelters and places like that. We have brought in about 170,000 cans since we started back in 2020.
What are we looking at here?
Well, this was a shipment of rice. It's fancy long grain rice, non-GMO, grown in Arkansas.
Okay.
And it is there's 40,000 pounds of it, and it was shipped to Canada by mistake.
Okay.
And it was just too difficult for them to ship it back. So we received the call, and they said, you know, can you take 40,000 pounds of rice? And we said yes. So we take these bags and we pack them down into 1 pound bags. Put them in a box, and we ship them out every single day.
Wow. How long will that last? Like,
This would be probably about a year's supply. We could ship out more, but this is how we can, I think, reasonably handle it.
but obviously, yet, like, and again, thinking about that, yes. So, like, if they have, like, not every organization, certainly not like just a small local food bank,
Exactly.
even however great the need isn't going to be able to accomplish or handle or be able to make
Right.
good use
Right.
of 40,000 pounds of
Right.
rice.
And that's really the key to this is, and as I said earlier, like food rescue isn't new, but we have talked now to more than 10 organizations across Canada who are interested in trying to replicate the model that we're doing. So we're putting together, for lack of a better term, a manual to try to help them with that. And we had some people here just last week for a whole week studying how we do it so that they can maybe do the same thing in their community.
For our viewers, again, who maybe just got to know a little bit more about Jim, but obviously about Harvest Hands and all you've accomplished, what would be the key message you'd love to get out so that people would know about your organization?
I think the main message is that, you know, we're just so thrilled to be able to help people in need, and there's so many people.
Not just St. Thomas, not just Elgin County, but for our businesses, for agriculture, but obviously for families and people that are vulnerable to food insecurity. Again, from Windsor to Oshawa, this is the hub right in St. Thomas. So congratulations, thank you. I wish you didn't have to do this, but I'm grateful that you've decided to do it.
Thank you very much. Okay.